are listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe Coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. Okay, I got a quick story I wanted to share with you before I think about it too much and don't get around to recording it. So this is not a well thought out episode, but I like it anyway. So, you know the story of Magnus. Remember the kitten, the little half-Manx orange tabby kitten that got here after he rode underneath someone's truck, underneath, not in, underneath, like in the undercarriage, for like over an hour on the freeway in the wintertime. Okay, it was November. It was practically wintertime. Oh my gosh. And when they parked, the kitten jumped out. They recognized him as a feral kitten from their house. Anyway, I got a phone call. That kitten ended up with me. Ta-da. And he was probably around 3 months old-ish. The kind of age where you think maybe you might be able to tame them, maybe. So I was working to see if maybe he could be adoptable, and either I didn't try hard enough or he really just didn't want to be friendly with people. But he's still here because he didn't friendly up very well. Okay. So he's been here ever since. That was November he arrived, and I always want to pet him. Oh my gosh. I always want to pet him. I want to hold him. I want to scratch his chin and rub his ears. I want to feel him purr when and he doesn't like it. Sometimes if I sneak up on him, like if he's really, really sleepy, it's hard to sneak up on him. But there have been a couple of times when I snatched him. I snatched him right up and I made him let me hold him. And he's not so feral that he tears me to pieces. He holds really stiff. Like he does it. But I almost think he kind of likes it. But no, he jumps down as soon as I let go. And because I've done that a couple times, he keeps his eye on me. Like he doesn't relax around me very well. All right. That's my bad. Okay. So the other day, my foster puppy, the Great Pyrenees foster puppy, who's probably not going to be a foster puppy for much longer. Anyway, I'm still holding out. If a better home shows up, then I'll send him off with my love, and I will probably cry for a week when I do, but I think that's my dog. Okay. Anyway, the puppy. He was given Magnus the kind of attention that Magnus didn't appreciate. Magnus wants to be the intimidator, not the intimidated. And this is a big puppy who doesn't have a ton of respect for cats yet. Cats haven't lit into him enough to know, give cats a wide berth. Especially, he just wants to play with someone. And there's a lot of cats, so he tries to play with cats. He was trying to play with Magnus. Magnus wasn't that into it. And Magnus had his back turned to me for it. So I thought this might be a perfect opportunity for me to snatch him up. So while the foster puppy, who's not a foster, was distracting him, I leaned down and I was going to snatch him up. I was going to be quick about it. You got to be fast with these cats. You got to be fast and you got to be confident. You have to. But right as I was reaching down to grab him, it's like he sensed me. And he turned around, he saw me, and he ran. I blew it. And I was like, oh, come here, Magnus. You know you want to be loved. Come here. And he didn't. He didn't want to be loved. He's just sat across the room looking at me like he wasn't going to let me get an inch closer. And so then I apologized. I said I was sorry. I said, you don't want any love? And he did not want any love. And Samson was still looking at him too. So now he's got two of us he's trying to avoid. And I'm sitting right by the doorway. In order for him to leave this room, he's going to have to go by me. And he's not like settling in a corner underneath furniture or anything. I could tell he wants out of the room and he's going to have to go by me for it. So I'm thinking I might get a second chance. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm sorry, bud. I won't do it again. And I didn't mean it. I was totally going to do it again. I said that, but I didn't mean it. I just was trying to coax him into a state of relaxation so he would give me another chance to snatch him up and make me let him love. You know what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I said I wouldn't do it again, and he started walking by, and I just made just barely a fraction of a move towards him, and he backed up again because he could tell I was going to do it again. So I sighed and I apologized again. And I said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just want to love on you. I said, I won't do it again. And this time I meant it. I said, I won't do it again. And he walked by me and he stopped right when he was like really close to me. And I didn't even think of trying to do it again. I didn't even think about it. I was really going to let him walk by in peace. And he stopped and he looked at me. And I just felt like what he was saying to me was that he wanted some love. And I said, do you want some love? And he kept looking at me. And he's totally free to walk through to get through the doorway. He's totally free. Like, it would be easy. If I made a move for him, he could have ran for it. He'd be in the clear, no problem. I didn't have him cornered at all. And he was looking at me like, I think he wanted some love. I think he wanted to be the kind of cat who could get some love. I think he did. So I said, you want some love? And I reached my hand out and he didn't flinch. He didn't run. He kept his eye on me, but he didn't move. And he actually let me start scratching him underneath his chin. And then he let me pet him a little bit on his back. And then I said, oh, he likes it. And I pet him a little more and he kind of closed his eyes a little bit, like when they get that blissful look, like he wanted some love. And I said, can I hold you? And I pet him a little more and he still wasn't going. So I moved really slow and I picked him up and he let me and I cuddled him and I pet him and he didn't purr. But I was listening for a purr really closely. He didn't purr, but he also didn't squirm. He didn't stiffen. He liked it. So I pet him that way for a little bit. And then my foster dog wanted in on it. I pet him a little bit too. So I was trying to love on them both. And then I put Magnus in my lap so he could easily run, and he didn't. He stayed in my lap, and I pet him some more, and I scratched him some more, and I let go so he could go, and he still didn't go, and I loved him some more. It was so cool how that worked. I told that story to a guy he's been looking to get some of my time and attention. In fact, he's been going kind of full court press about it. A guy that I love him dearly. And he has been on it, like he's been pulling out all the stops. And it's not working. It's like when I told him the story. I said, actually, it's like this. And I told him the story about how I was trying to get Magnus to let me love him. And he didn't want nothing to do with me when I was trying. And as soon as and it wasn't when I stopped and I said, okay, I won't try again, but I really in my heart meant to. Like, he didn't fall for that either. It wasn't until I really, truly was cool that he could leave and I'd be fine. I wasn't going to try to grab him, that he let me hold him. I was telling that story to the guy. I don't know whether it landed or not, but I was telling that story about how I was telling the Magnus story to the guy, to a person that I was talking with about, something else that was going on. And I said, it's because I feel like this is an example of how we try too hard. We get attached to making things happen. We have a little bit of resistance, like we're not cool. We don't have peace with what we don't want. There's so much here about how a transformation happens in our vibration when we get okay with, or when we don't have to have it, when we don't need it, when we don't try too hard. Something magical happens when we don't try too hard. That's true for no matter what it is we're wanting in our life, whether it's a business offering that we want to be well received, whether it's buying a house, whether it's changes with our bodies. I think sometimes when we relax, we underestimate the power of chilling out and letting it be and making space for it to come to us. Anyway, maybe it doesn't translate as well to conscious creation as I think it does, but I've shared that story with a couple of clients, and it's still on my mind about how there I was trying to sneak up on him. I was trying to make it. I was trying to force it on him. And it wasn't until I got okay that he wasn't going to have any love from me that he not only let me love him, but he liked it. Okay, so I was talking with a colleague about it today. And this was yesterday. This happened yesterday. And she said, so, how is Magnus today? And it was like afternoon. And I said, actually, I don't know. I don't think I've seen him today. I don't think I've seen him today. If I hadn't noticed. And then just now, that's why I'm recording this right now. Just now, right before I came to record, he, okay, where were we? Where were we? Harvey was there. I was in some room. I can't even picture. It was just 5 minutes ago. And Magnus was there. And he has that ornery meow. Man, I got cats. And all my cats are generally pretty quiet. But 2 are a little noisy. Don Diego, he will let you know his displeasure vocally. And Magnus, he just meows all the freaking time. He just meows to announce his entry into a room, his exit from a room, his mood. That guy meows. It's like an ornery, demanding meow. Okay, so he had that meow. And I asked him what he wanted. And I thought I'd maybe see if he wanted some catnip or if he wanted some wet food. And so I'm just catering to this guy. And he kept looking at me like I still didn't get it right. And I was like, oh, you want some love? And he didn't run away. He didn't walk up to me exactly, but I sat down on the ground and I held my fingers out and he walked over to my fingers again and I scratched him again. And I said, oh, you want some love, don't you? And I pet him a couple times and he liked it. And I pet him for, I don't know, I'd say a good solid minute or 2 before I reached over to pick him up because by this time Harvey's getting jealous. So Harvey came over and sat in my lap. So now I'm scratching Harvey's butt and petting the kitty. But I reached around to grab the kitty, and I held him, and I cuddled him, and I loved him, and he purred. He totally purred. Oh, I tried so hard to tame that guy when he was a kitten so he could be adopted. Maybe he's only doing it now when he's not at risk of getting adopted. He's not in any risk of getting adopted. Oh, I just love this story. If you got something in your life that you've been trying hard, or you've been trying to force it, or you're not okay with it as it is, and you're trying to pretend you're peaceful about it, but you're not really, maybe think of me and Magnus and use that as a way to shift your energy around it and let it come to you. Okay, thanks for listening. Happy manifesting, everyone.